Hello, my name is Joseph Arnold, and today I'd like to explore the question, what is ours to do as artists, as musicians, dancers, painters, writers, choreographers, directors? What's ours to do in the climate crisis, in the biodiversity crisis, and many of the larger social and political issues that humanity faces these days? And, it's really not clear at the outset, or from a particular perspective. It's not at all clear that we as artists have really anything of substance to offer other than, inspiration or education, which are certainly very important and definitely have a place. And yet, to me, this doesn't go deep enough. So first, I'll kind of frame the issue. So there's a lot of controversy around the climate crisis, climate change, but the predominance of the scientific evidence says that something is happening and it's not going to be good. And the biodiversity crisis, I think, is easier to connect with because so many species are being lost. And that's very tangible. And so, what do we do about this? And I don't believe that there is any one answer. We already have so many solutions in the world. And so actually that if there is something of an answer, like a single unifying answer, it's going to be discovered in looking at what's what's sort of common to all these destructive forces, and then looking for the antidote for that commonality. And to me, what's common among all the destructive forces in our world, whether that's pollution or destroying ecosystems or political or social strife, that what's common is a kind of disconnection or separation, othering, dehumanization. These are all different words for the same basic thing that's happening. This is the origin of the feeling of the wrongness in the world. I don't know about you, but I just have the sense that, well, a couple things. One is that there's something wrong with our world. I think this is pretty universally felt these days. Like, what the heck is going on? Why are things looking so bad? And there's also this other voice inside me that knows that something could be much more beautiful, that our way of life really could work really beautifully for everybody and for the planet. So in any case, it's so crucial. I found it so helpful to locate this commonality among all of these disparate elements of what's going wrong in the world. Disconnection. So if if the core problem is this kind of disconnection, then the antidote is connection. And we can see that what brings healing between people is seeing a connection, like with yourself and somebody else. What leads to environmental action, sustainability action, is seeing the connection between yourself and the environment. When you see that connection, then you care. And when you care, you act. And so that's kind of the fundamental framing that I use. Now, how does this connect to the arts? So I believe that the arts world is a microcosm of the world at large. Maybe you know what a fractal is. A fractal is a system or a shape or an object that has similarities in the parts that can also be seen in the whole. Like a fern. A fern leaf, the little tiny leaves look exactly like the fern frond overall. And so I believe that other things in life work this way. So that, for example, the arts world, all our institutions and ourselves as individuals, as artists, is a microcosm of the world at large. The problems we see in the world at large, this kind of disconnection, can also be seen in the arts world. And for example, in the kinds of injuries that I had when playing violin back in college, I was playing like this, I had injuries in my arms. This is very common. The performance anxiety, the overactive inner critic, the sense of mechanical, robotic playing that happens, like just trying to get the notes right. And so there's a parallel then between the problems of the world at large and those in the arts world. Likewise, the antidote is going to be the same. If connection can bring healing and a more sustainable mindset to the environment, to environmental issues, and can bring authentic connection between people as a pathway to peace, then connection of various kinds can bring resolution to the issues that artists face. So like for my example, in my own journey with my body, the pain that I was in, I had to see that all my body parts were connected, that I wasn't like this robot playing violin, as I sort of unconsciously assumed that I was. And another form of connection that I have really enjoyed discovering is the connection between getting the notes right and the emotional content, playing from the heart, that's what I call it, and the integration of the two into a deeper form of mastery. This is all stuff I talk about in my book. So in any case, so bringing that same mindset of connection, of interconnection, or we could even borrow Thich Nhat Hanh's term. Thich Nhat Hanh was a Zen monk, a Vietnamese monk. He had a term called interbeing. Interbeing is a word for oneness that still retains individuality. Oneness that still retains individuality. And this is what the arts are about, right? So a note in a song is a part of that song. It's part of the oneness, and it's still its individual note. A dance move is a part of the choreography overall, and it's still its individual dance move. You, as a member of ensemble, are the ensemble works best when you are one with the ensemble, and yet you don't lose your identity being in a part of an ensemble, right? You still retain your individuality. So there's that kind of relationship, and that's belonging and individuality. That's interbeing, and the more and more that we as artists and just humanity in general steps into this way of seeing the world, seeing ourselves as a part of the world, a part of nature, then the more we're going to care about nature, the more that we're going to care about each other, and the more peace and healing can happen. So it is my belief, based on this framework, that our greatest contribution as artists is to heal the separations, the disconnections in our art making, in our art institutions. To find these connections and reconnect them in our own bodies, in our music, in our art, in the way that we collaborate. And because of this fractal nature, right? Because the arts world is a microcosm of the world overall, this is us doing our part to heal the world, to end the madness. And if you decide to educate or inspire with your art, then doing so from this place of interbeing, of connectedness, is going to make it even more powerful. And that being said, you don't have to. You don't have to make songs about climate change in order to make a difference. And not just a difference, but a positive, meaningful contribution. And I guess that's the meaning underneath this whole crisis. You know, it's so easy to lapse into despair about so much of what's happened to the world. Despair or escape, rage. I view all of this as an invitation. It's like the world is inviting us into a new way of being. And we got to discover that in ourselves. We got to grapple with these issues and come to real, satisfying answers. And that means growing the hell up. And it starts with you. It starts with you. So I write about all these themes in my book, and in a way that my book is a handbook or a guide to grappling with all these issues and to this approach of interbeing in the arts. How you practice, how you perform, how you teach. So it's all right there. Oh yeah, and how you make a living. It's all right there in the book. The book will be coming out hopefully in the spring of 2023. If you want to get notification of that, you can subscribe to this YouTube channel. Better yet is to go to my website at josepharnold.com and sign up for my email list. I will be getting a new website soon, soulforcearts.com. So maybe you can look out for that one too. Yeah, okay, I think that's all I have to say today. Thank you for watching.